Welcome back. I'm Fiddle Fiddleston, and this is the Economic Debate. Today, we have a special guest, all the way from Russia, Vladimir!
This is me. Greetings to America.
Thank you, Vladimir. And in this corner, we have a representative from the United States.
I'm looking forward to this.
As you all at home know, this show takes two economies and sets them against each other in a debate-style format.
Let's get this started.
May the best man win.
Let's begin then. Have an easy question to start. What was your GDP in 2013?
In 2013, our GDP was 16.77 trillion United States dollars. Beat that, Russia.
In 2013, our GDP was 2.079 trillion USD. Russia is a far smaller nation business-wise, after all.
GDP per capita.
It was 14,611.7 USD in 2013.
53,041.98 United States dollars in 2013. I win again.
This is an unfair comparison. The USA is a huge country with many business.
Oi, you agree to this. Stop being a wuss.
You seem very Australian for an American.
No, I'm not.
Okay, that was a little weird. Let's continue. Easy question again. What is the current population in America?
323.63 million people. And you, Russia?
And Russia?
We have 146.5 million people in Russia at the moment.
Okay, now let's move on with some harder questions. What is your country's key industry?
The USA has a highly diversified, world-leading, high-technology innovator. Second largest industrial output of any country, especially in petroleum, steel, motor vehicles.
Aha! Russia has more industries. We do mining and extraction for things such as chemicals, metals, coal, and oil. We manufacture machines such as high-performance aircraft and spacecraft. We also develop a range of defensive items, radar, missiles, and advanced electronics for military use. We also manufacture ships for sea use. Transportation materials and roads are all developed in Russia. We also make communications equipment, not solely for military use. We develop agricultural tech, such as tractors. We also create important scientific and medical equipment and supplies. Other industries include textiles, food items, and handicrafts.
I wasn't finished.
Oh, I am disappointed.
We also produce aerospace, telecommunications, chemicals, electronics, food, consumer goods, lumber, mining. And remember, Russia, you're only able to make all this stuff because you learned it off the USA. And all your manufacturing techniques are so old.
Victor for this round is very hard to decide. I know, I'll give it to Russia, as they seem to have more in general.
Ha! I believe an apology is in order.
I owe you no such thing.
Now, let's move on before a fight breaks out. Now, what do your countries and who do they trade with?
America trades with everybody, except for Cuba, North Korea, and Syria.
Russia mainly trades with the EU. Within the EU, their main trade partner is the Netherlands, along with Germany and Italy. The Netherlands has 8.2% of our export. Most of Russia's import comes from Germany, Belarus, and Ukraine. Germany has 14% of our imported materials.
What about China?
Everyone trades with China, you fool. Apart from the EU, they are our largest trade partner, with 7.4% of our exports going there.
Yeah, everybody trades with China.
What is your largest export and import?
Our main export is crude petroleum. We also export raw materials and technology.
Ha! Ours is technology along with refined petroleum and medicinal services. As for imports, our largest is technology, vehicles and petroleum.
Our imports are technology, vehicles, and chemicals. Chemicals include medical supplies and perfume.
Perfume.
Now, what about the countries you don't trade with?
Well, Russia has sanctions against some countries. One of them is a total ban on food imports from the EU, United States, Norway, Canada, and Australia.
The United States does not currently trade with North Korea and Cuba as they are dictatorships. and the abuses of human rights. What are your unemployment rates in both your respective countries?
The unemployment rate for Russia is a mere 5.8. The employment rate, 65.13%.
The unemployment rate in America is currently 5.5%, while the number of people employed is 121.41 million people.
Do your countries have any tax on imported and exported products? And what about the inflation rate?
The tax rate for Russia is 18%. It has been that consistently for a long time.
There is no general tax in America. The states have their own taxes.
The inflation rate is 9.8 in Russia.
The inflation rate in America is 1.4%.
Thank you for answering these questions.
Is this the end?
No, you stupid American pig.
Shut up, both of you. Now for a more serious question. How did your countries fare in the 2008 economic crisis? Russia, you go first.
The 2008 crisis hit Russia at the time when we thought that our economy was growing. We were determined to become one of the leading economies. But the 2008 economic crash stood in our way. The stock market was down 70% in Russia. Russia was losing many of their weapon and military sales to China, which account for a large portion of our GDP. We were selling some to Iran, but not nearly as much as that we sell to China. Russia's military was in a very poor state. They were informed they would receive a 50% increase in funding, but due to the crash, Russia was forced to cut the budget by 60%. The Russian leaders wanted to be on the winning side of the 2008 crisis, as in profit from it. They believed it was the emerging economies in Asia that would have to solve the problem, and instead of taking action against the crisis, the government worked hard to ensure they would come out on top. During 2008, they negotiated a trade agreement with the EU. Unfortunately, the trade agreement was postponed by the crisis.
That's a lot of information.
This is what happens in an economic crisis.
The subprime mortgage crisis, failing home prices, investment bank failures, tight credit, and the global economic downturn pushed the United States into recession by mid-2008. GDP contracted until the third quarter of 2009, making this the deepest and longest downturn since the Great Depression. To help stabilize the financial markets, the US Congress established a $700 billion Troubled Asset Relief Program, or known as TARP, in October 2008. The government used some of these funds to purchase equity in US banks and industrial corporations. Much of the money has been returned to the government by early 2011.
Incredible information. You guys must have done a lot of research now. Personally, I believe that both systems have their benefits. Well, that's it for tonight. Tune to Economic Weekly to learn about different economies. I'm Fiddle Fiddleston, and good night.